Welcome to lecture on oscillations and waves.
So in this lecture, I am going to discuss forced oscillations, examples of forced oscillations, and theory of the forced oscillation. Forced oscillations. So first to discuss what is this forced oscillations. So far, we have discussed the vibrations in which the body vibrates at its own frequency without being subjected to any other external force. However, a different situation arises when the body is subjected to an external periodic force. As an example, consider the vibrations of the bridge under the influence of the marching soldiers, or vibrations of the tuning fork when exposed to the periodic force of sound waves. In both the cases, the body vibrates because it is subjected to an external periodic force. So such vibrations are called forced vibrations. So forced vibrations or oscillations can be defined as forced oscillations are oscillations in which the body vibrates with a frequency other than its natural frequency under the action of an external periodic force. So in the case of damped vibrations, the amplitude of the vibration decreases with time exponentially due to the dissipation of energy, and body eventually comes to rest. If suitable periodic external force is applied to the body, the decay of vibration due to the damping can be overcome and the body executes vibrations so long as the external periodic force continues to act on it. Remember, the forced vibrations survives so long as the external periodic force is present. The vibrating body switches to damping mode once the external periodic force ceases to act. So here one thing we have to remember, we are applying the periodic external force, and the body is vibrating with the frequency other than its natural frequency. So now let us consider some examples for the forced oscillations. First one, the oscillations of a swing which is pushed periodically by a person. Here the pushing person gives the external periodic force needed to survive the oscillations. Second one, the periodic variation of current in an LCR circuit driven by an AC source. Here the external AC source supplies the periodic force. Third one, the vibrations of the eardrum caused by sound from sounding body. So here the sounding body which produces sound, or the sound causes the external periodic force. Fourth one is the motion of diaphragm in a telephone receiver or a loudspeaker. So these are some of the examples for the forced oscillations. Now let us discuss the theory of forced oscillation. Consider a body of mass m executing vibrations in a damping medium acted upon by an external periodic force. So there are three forces acting on the system. First one is the restoring force, which is proportional to the displacement but oppositely directed, given by minus kx. where K is known as the force constant. Second one is the damping force, which is proportional to the velocity but oppositely directed and is given by minus r into dx by dt, where dx by dt represents the velocity and r represents the damping factor or the damping constant. So these two forces were there even in the case of damped vibrations. Now the third important force which is acting on the system in the case of forced oscillation is the applied periodic force. So the external periodic force can be represented by F sin Pt, where F is the maximum value of this force or the amplitude of the force, and P is the angular frequency of the external periodic force. So these three forces are acting on the system now. So the total force acting on the system is given by minus kx minus r into dx by dt plus f sin pt. So by Newton's second law of motion, this must be equal to the product of the mass of the body and the acceleration d squared dx by dt squared. That is m into d squared dx by dt squared, ma. So a is d squared dx by dt square. So therefore this should be the total force. So therefore this should be equal to this total force. So m into d squared dx by dt squared minus kx minus r into dx by dt plus f into sin pt. So here this is the extra term. So these two terms were there even in the case of damped vibrations. So this is the term which represents the applied periodic force. So therefore rearranging this one, we will get m into d squared dx by dt squared plus r into dx by dt plus k into x is equal to f sin pt. Now dividing by m, so we will get d squared dx by dt squared plus r by m into dx by dt plus k by m into x is equal to f by m sin pt. Or d squared dx by dt squared. Now substitute for r by m. So as in the case of damped vibration, this is nothing but 2b, and k by m is equal to omega squared, or omega is equal to square root of k by m. So this is the equation now. So here r by m is 2b and omega is equal to, or omega squared is equal to k by m. Equation 1 is the differential equation for the forced oscillation. When the steady state is set up, the body vibrates with the frequency of the applied force and not with its own frequency. That means when the steady state is reached, the body vibrates with the frequency p, not with its own frequency omega. Therefore, the solution of the equation 1 must be of the form x is equal to a sin pt minus alpha, where p is the frequency of the applied force and a is the amplitude of vibration and alpha is the angle with which the displacement x lags behind the applied force f sin pt. The applied force and the displacement are in phase with each other, then alpha will be equal to 0. So differentiating this equation 2 with respect to t, we get, so differentiate this one. So dx by dt is equal to a into differentiate sin pt minus alpha. So it will give you cos pt minus alpha into p. So therefore dx by dt is equal to ap cos pt minus alpha. So this is equation 3. Differentiating again with respect to t, d squared x by dt squared is equal to, so differentiate this one, so ap into differentiate cos pt minus alpha with respect to t, so it will give you minus sin pt minus alpha into p. So therefore d squared x by dt squared is equal to minus ap squared sin pt minus alpha. So this is equation 4. So now substituting the equation 2, 3 and 4 in equation 1. So in this equation 1 you substitute for d squared x by dt square and dx by dt, and for x from equations 2, 3 and 4. Substituting equations 2, 3 and 4 in equation 1, we get ap squared sin pt minus alpha plus 2 into b into ap cos pt minus alpha plus omega squared into a into sin pt minus alpha is equal to f by m sin pt. So this is equation 5. The right side of the above equation can be written as, that is f by m sin pt can be written as f by m sin pt is equal to f by m sin pt minus alpha plus alpha. So that is nothing but sin pt itself. So that is equal to, this is of the form sin a plus b, where a is pt minus alpha and b is equal to alpha. So what is sin a plus b? So that is equal to sin a cos b plus cos a sin b. So therefore this equation becomes equal to f by m sin pt minus alpha cos alpha plus f by m cos pt minus alpha sin alpha. So substituting this in equation 5, so we will get this particular equation. So this is the left side of the equation. So then the right side of the equation, f by m sin pt is equal to this one, that is f by m cos alpha sin pt minus alpha plus f by m sin alpha cos pt minus alpha. Now rearranging this one, so we will get omega squared minus p squared into a into sin pt minus alpha plus 2 into b into a into p cos pt minus alpha, that is equal to f by m cos alpha sin pt minus alpha plus f by m sin alpha cos pt minus alpha. Now if you see the left and right side of this particular equation, the coefficient of sin pt minus alpha must be equal to each other. Similarly, the coefficients of cos pt minus alpha must be equal to each other. So now equating sin coefficient of sin pt minus alpha, on the left side we will have omega squared minus p squared into a, that must be equal to f by m cos alpha. Similarly, the coefficient of cos pt minus alpha, on the left side we will have 2bap, so that must be equal to f by m sin alpha. So therefore, by equating coefficient of sin pt minus alpha on both sides, so omega squared minus p squared into a is equal to f by m cos alpha, that is equation 7. Similarly, by equating coefficient of cos pt minus alpha on both sides, so 2bap is equal to f by m sin alpha. So this is equation 8. Now squaring and adding equation 7 and 8, so square of this one, that is omega squared minus p squared whole squared into a squared plus 2bap whole square, so that is equal to f by m cos alpha whole squared, that is f by m squared into cos squared alpha plus square of this one, that is f by m whole squared into sin squared alpha. So you can take f by m whole squared outside. So now from this equation, sin squared alpha plus cos squared alpha is equal to 1. So therefore, so this equation becomes a squared into omega squared minus p squared whole square plus 4b squared p squared equal to f by m whole square. Or a squared is equal to f by m whole squared divided by omega squared minus p squared whole squared plus 4 b squared p squared, or a is equal to square root of that one. The square root of f by m whole squared is equal to f by m divided by square root of 4b squared p squared plus omega squared minus p squared whole squared. So this is the expression for the amplitude of the vibration. The above equation represents the amplitude of the forced oscillation. So substitute this amplitude in equation 2. So we will get x is equal to f by m divided by square root of 4b squared p squared plus omega squared minus p squared into whole squared into sin pt minus alpha, because x is equal to a sin pt minus alpha. So a is equal to this one. So this is the expression for x. So now dividing 8 by 7, the equation 7 is this one, omega squared minus p squared into a is equal to f by m cos alpha, and equation 8 is this one, 2bap is equal to f by m sin alpha. So divide 8 by 7, so we will get, so sin alpha divided by cos alpha, that is equal to tan alpha. F by m gets cancelled with each other, so that is equal to tan alpha is equal to 2bap divided by a into omega squared minus p squared. So here a gets cancelled, so this is equal to 2bp divided by omega squared minus p squared. So this is expression for tan alpha. So therefore the phase alpha of the forced vibration is given by alpha is equal to tan inverse of this one, that is a tan inverse 2bp divided by omega squared minus p squared. So this gives the expression for the phase, and this is the expression for the amplitude. So equation 9 and 11 represents amplitude and force of the phase of the forced vibrations. So the frequency of vibrating body is p, but the frequency of the applied force is also p. Hence, after the application of the external force, the body vibrates with the frequency of the applied force irrespective of its natural frequency. Depending upon the relative values of p and omega, that is the frequency of the applied periodic force and natural frequency of the body, there are three cases possible. Case 1, when a driving force is low, that is p is very small compared with the omega. So in this particular case, the amplitude of vibration is given by, so this is the equation for the amplitude, a is equal to f by m divided by square root of 4b squared p squared plus omega squared minus p squared whole squared. So in this particular equation, if p is very small compared with omega, omega squared minus p squared is equal to omega squared, and 2bp is equal to 0. So this is 0 and this is equal to omega squared. So therefore a is equal to f by m divided by omega squared. So that is a constant, because here f is a constant, that is the amplitude of the applied periodic force. M is constant and omega is the natural frequency of the body, that is constant. So therefore A is constant. So therefore the amplitude of vibration is independent of the frequency of the applied force, and it depends on the amplitude of the applied force, so that is F, and therefore it is a constant. Phase is given by, so alpha is equal to tan inverse of 2bp divided by omega squared minus p square. So this is the expression for the phase. Now in this particular equation, omega squared minus p squared is equal to omega squared, and 2bp is almost 0. So this is 0 and this is equal to omega squared. So this is tan inverse 0, so that is equal to 0. So therefore alpha is equal to 0. That means the displacement and applied force will be in the same phase. So this is the first case. Now case 2, when P is equal to omega, that is the frequency of the applied periodic force is equal to the natural frequency of the body. So in that case, so this is the expression for the amplitude. So here P is equal to omega, so therefore this becomes equal to 0. So the equation for A becomes equal to F by M square root of 4b squared p squared, that is equal to 2bp, or here b is equal to, or 2b is equal to r by m. So therefore F by m divided by r by m into p, so that is equal to F divided by r omega. So this is the expression for the amplitude when P is equal to omega. So the amplitude of vibration is maximum here when the damping is very small, when R is very small here. So this amplitude A is maximum. Phase is given by alpha is equal to tan inverse 2bp divided by omega squared minus p squared. So here omega is equal to p square, so this becomes equal to 0. So something divided by 0 is infinity, so therefore this is equal to tan inverse of infinity, that is equal to, so alpha is equal to pi by 2. So therefore displacement has a phase lag of pi by 2 with respect to the applied periodic force in this particular case. So more about this one we will discuss in the next session. So that is this particular condition is called resonance. Case 3, when P is very large compared with the omega, that is the frequency of the applied periodic force is large compared with the natural frequency of the body. So in that particular case, the expression for the amplitude is given by A is equal to, so this particular expression. So here P is very large compared with omega, so therefore omega squared minus P squared, in this particular equation omega squared can be neglected, so this is equal to P to the power 4, and 4b squared p squared is very small compared with the p squared. So therefore this term can be neglected, and omega squared minus p squared whole squared becomes equal to P to the power 4. So therefore the amplitude A is equal to F by m divided by p squared. So in this case the amplitude goes on decreasing as P goes on increasing. So that is, as the frequency of the applied periodic force goes on increasing, the amplitude of vibration goes on decreasing. The phase is given by alpha is equal to tan inverse of 2bp divided by omega squared minus p squared. So here P is very large compared with omega, so this is equal to, so here this can be neglected, so this becomes equal to minus p squared, so 1 p gets cancelled, so this is equal to tan inverse of 2b minus p. So when the damping is very small, so this reduces to 0, so therefore this value approaches to 0 from the negative side. So therefore alpha is equal to pi. So as P increases, the phase difference between the displacement and the applied force approaches pi, or they are out of phase by 180 degree. Let us differentiate between free and forced vibration, or the distinction between free and forced vibrations. So here free vibration and here forced vibration. First one, free vibrations are vibrations executed by a body without being acted upon by a external force. Forced vibrations occurs due to the action of a periodic force applied externally. So let us consider example of a simple pendulum. So in the case of simple pendulum, the initially force is applied to displace the bob of the pendulum. Then afterwards, there is no continuous external force is applied. Whereas in the case of forced vibrations, there is a continuous external periodic force is acting. Let us consider the example of a swing which is pushed by a person. The person is continuously applying the force here. Second one, free vibrations diminish gradually due to the damping forces. Forced vibrations persist as long as the external periodic force acts on the body. So in the case of simple free vibrations, the amplitude of vibration goes on decreasing due to the damping forces. So due to the resistive or the damping forces, the energy of the oscillation goes on decreasing. So the amplitude goes on decreasing here. Whereas here, in the case of forced vibration, there is a continuous supply of external force or the energy. So therefore, there is no decrease in the energy because it is continuously supplied by the external periodic force. So therefore the vibration persists there. Third one, the frequency of vibrations depends on the mass and the elasticity of the body. In the case of forced vibration, the frequency of the forced vibration not depend on any such factors and is equal to the frequency of the applied periodic force. So in the case of free vibrations, the frequency is depends upon the mass and the elasticity. So that particular frequency is called a natural frequency. The body is vibrating with the natural frequency. So in this particular case, the body is vibrating with the frequency of the applied periodic force. So it is independent of its natural frequency. So it is independent of the mass and the elasticity of the vibrating body. Fourth one, free vibrations may occur with any amplitude due to the effect of damping. Amplitude goes on decreasing. So in the case of forced vibration, amplitude is small except at the vicinity of resonance frequency. So in the case of free vibrations, if you apply the larger initial force, so then initially the amplitude will be large. Then due to the damping, the amplitude goes on decreasing and finally it stops. Whereas in the case of forced vibration, the amplitude remains constant. If the frequency is other than the resonance frequency, the amplitude may be small, but it remains constant. Whereas in the vicinity of the resonance frequency, the amplitude will be constant and maximum. Fifth one, vibrations stops sooner or later depending on the damping force. So here, in the case of free vibration, after some time, so due to damping, the vibration stops. Whereas in this particular case, vibration stops as soon as the external force is stopped. So vibration continues until there is a external periodic force is acting. So once it stops, the vibration stops. So this is the distinction between free and forced vibrations. In the next session, we will discuss resonance. Thank you.